Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on AI, music, and student voice in the classroom. We want to thank you all for joining us here today. We'll get into our introductions here with myself and Dominic. My name is Stuart Gray, and I'm an education technology consultant here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and I'm also a Logix Academy facilitator. And the person who's going to be kind of running the show today is Dominic. I'll let you introduce yourself there, Dominic.
Yes, I'm Dominic Tremblay. I'm an education consultant from beautiful Belleville, Ontario, but I say this is like my storage unit. I travel across Canada, the US, and the world to bring more coding and more STEM in the classroom. And today I'm super excited. This is one of my favorite workshops. Whenever I work with kids on Your Voice is Power, which we will be discovering today, the kids are so engaged. And sometimes I'll do the same school like a couple of weeks later, and I come back and the kids are so excited to show me what they did at home. So that shows interest, like they continue the projects at home. So I can't wait to share with you guys.
If you want to find out, where you're coming from in terms of the land that you're situated on, I'm coming from Algonquin Anishinaabe territory here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. But you can go to this website, nativeland.ca. It's a great site to learn more about the land that we're all situated on. Want to just quickly give a shout out to Logix Academy for facilitating today's session. The website's there. We're going to get into a couple of details just about what they provide. But if you're not familiar, if this is the first time joining a Logix session, Logix Academy provides comprehensive, engaging K-12 computer science solutions, robotics, curriculum, resources, and things like today, professional development. All kind of with the goal of enhancing teachers and students' abilities to integrate technology in the classroom, create some really incredible, engaging learning experiences utilizing these technologies. They also provide all sorts of STEM products, from robotics, laser cutters, digital microscopes, 3D printers, and there's curriculum and professional development that go along with each of these. And then today, again, our focus, and I'm going to pass it over to Dominic, who's the expert on this topic, but we're going to be looking at this tool called Your Voice is Power. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Dominic, and I will be pasting links relevant in the chat as we go in terms of resources that you can access. And then throughout the time, though, too, this is, again, a live session where you can feel free to ask any questions. We encourage, anything that comes up at any time, feel free to paste it in the chat, and we'll make sure we tailor this to your needs as we go.
Yeah, and I know we start with Stuart, all of these great toys that we have at Logix Academy, robots and laser cutters and 3D printers and all these great things. What I like with Your Voice is Power is it's also very low on the budget, because all you need is students' computers. So your computers will need your students will need a computer or a Chromebook. I've even run it on an iPad as well using the web browser, because it's a web app and you don't need to buy expensive stuff. And often when I see music production workshops, you kind of need to buy a soundboard and that kind of thing. And in this case, it's not necessary. Just a good old Chromebook or computer, and it's going to do the job perfectly, because everything is done through coding. So you don't actually need a soundboard to do your mixing. You're actually doing your mixing through coding. What I also like with Your Voice is Power is it is a very comprehensive project, which means your students are doing more than just coding. First, they're learning music. So they're going to learn about all the theory of music. They are learning about social studies as well. The program is very well designed with information about First Nation artists, Métis, Inuit artists. Students will also learn about racialized community and how they use music to empower themselves to talk about things that were not fair in the past. So there's a very good social study component to this program. And as a perk, it also comes with a competition. So students have until the end of June to compete, create their own song, and use their own voice. I always tell students, look at these artists. They've used music to empower themselves, to say things that were not said at the time, to tell people how unfair things were. Sometimes to talk about things that were hurting them. They use their voice. So there's definitely something that you're passionate about, that you want to tell the world about it. And music is a great way to do it. And why not do it with coding? And another thing you're going to be doing is a bit of math, because it's impossible to do music without math. We're going to be using decimal numbers, maybe some fractions, things like that. So students will learn about numbers as well. So, a very comprehensive program. So, I'd like to take a few moments to show you a short video. And this video will give you a good idea of the program. Now, I just want to let you know that the video is partly in English and partly in French, but you're going to find some subtitle. And I think it's actually good that students discover that artists are not only speaking English, you've got artists speaking various languages. So let me make sure we get this video on board, and hopefully the sound works. You're going to let me know, Stuart, if you hear.
Yeah, I caught the little sample there of the sound as we started off. So yeah, that was coming through clearly.
So let's get going. So let me give me a second. I'm going to share that, and you're going to meet also some of the artists that are part of the program. You're going to meet them as part of this this video. So it's always good. I like to refer to these artists when students are exploring. So yeah, here we go. And now you should see my screen with Christine on the screen. Is that correct, Stuart?
Yep, you've got it there. Sounds good.
The Your Voice is Power contest will launch in early 2022 and will provide middle and high school students with the opportunity to learn about coding and social justice through music. EarSketch is the coding software created by Georgia Tech University that allows students to turn code into music, along with beats and loops provided by artists like us.
On déconstruit une chanson pour pouvoir en créer une nouvelle. Donc, je pense que c'est la plus belle expérience qu'on peut faire avec une chanson déjà existante.
I think learning to code is really important these days, especially for young Indigenous people to get involved with the technology that is continuing to advance in today's society.
Hip-hop is a celebration of culture, energy, intellect, self-expression, and survival. Hip-hop teaches us that our voice is power.
You might not be aware of the light and how bright you are, but you have to know that you are capable of inspiring other people.
Maintenant, il est temps d'utiliser cette voix à travers la musique et le codage. Alors, êtes-vous prêts?
The time is now to create your remix. Let go of your inhibitions, don't be afraid to share your voice, and write from the heart.
Vous êtes un programmeur. Faites des rythmes, apprenez le codage, promouvoir l'équité.
And I can't wait to hear what you come up with.
So I think this is a very powerful video to start the program because students get to know the artist, and then they're going to see them on the platform and they're going to recognize them and put a face to those artists. And I like the variety that they have there. So they have Dakota Bear, who's a warrior, hip-hop singer. They also met Christine, who wrote the curriculum. And I really enjoy having something about First Nation that was written by someone from the First Nation. So she's an Anishinaabe educator. Also, what I really enjoy in this video is they see a Francophone artist, Samian. And I was actually in a French school a couple of weeks ago, and the kids say, "Hey, he came to our school. We know this guy." So it was a lot of fun. And there's also an artist who's pretty close in the age to our students, Jaylee Wolf. So I think they can relate to her as well and see themselves in the future doing some music. So this is what Your Voice is Power is all about. And the platform that the kids will be using is EarSketch. So it's a platform that was created by Georgia Tech University. Now, don't be afraid. I know the platform is using what we call text-based coding. It's using Python. And a lot of teachers go, "Oh, no, can't do Python. That's so scary. I'm so used to Blockly or Scratch." They're so used to block-based coding. Don't worry. The text-based coding that we do on this platform is fairly easy. And the platform is very well designed. And the training that comes with it is very well designed to make it easy. I've worked with students all the way down to grade 5. I tried it in grade 4, was a bit difficult, but grade 5, grade 6, no problem. And obviously all the way to grade 12 is definitely not a problem. Students have until the end of June to create their own song using their own voice. That's why it's called Your Voice is Power. And they will select 50 students, winners from the list of songs that they've received. And the top winner will also receive a $5,000 scholarship that they can use to start a business or they can use to go to school. So I think this is a great perk for students to compete in the program. But make sure that students don't do it just for the competition. They also do it because they have a message that they want to convey. Always put the emphasis on the social aspect of the program and the learning aspect as well. So students, as part of the program, they're going to be doing some music. Obviously, they're going to be doing some computer science because it's using coding and computer. I like to teach them the word activism. A lot of students have no idea what it means, but I ask them, like, what are some of the words that you recognize in the word activism? And they recognize action, activity, that kind of thing. So I teach them that what it means is to take action. If you see something that is not okay, something that is not fair, you use music to take action and do something about it. Entrepreneurship, they really encourage students to start their own business. That's why the $5,000 grant is for entrepreneurship as well. And students will learn about racial equity. Just so that you know, the songs, there's no very bad words in the song, but sometimes the message can be a little bit difficult. So I always tell students, some of the things that you may hear in the song may not be things that you would say in the schoolyard, but this is something that these artists felt they had to say to change things. So you may want to give a little warning before they start exploring all of the sound library. But don't worry, there's nothing very bad in the sound library. It's just the artist speaking from their heart. And here you have the module, and I'm actually going to switch to Your Voice is Power website just to show you where you can get all of that, because this is, I want you to be empowered to deliver this workshop yourself. Now, the good news is you can book a workshop with Logix Academy to have us deliver that for you in your classroom. You can have us deliver it virtually. So we would come to your classroom virtually for, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. In some cases, we might be able to do in person if you have many classes in your school and it's not too far from one of our facilitators. It might be possible, but mostly virtually. So it's a great way to get the program started. But let me show you all of the lesson plans. So let me switch here. I'm going to add this to this stage. Oh, I need to remove the PowerPoint first. Here we go. And can you confirm that you see the Your Voice is Power website, Stuart?
It's still in the Vimeo tab right now. So it just...
I do need to... yeah. It doesn't switch tab with me.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so let me go here. So I'm going to share that screen, and let's make sure I share the right tab with you guys. So Your Voice is Power. Share. Here we go. Okay, so now you should see that proper tab.
Yeah, we've got it there now.
Okay, so all the modules, including the one that I was using so far, are right here. So there's 8 modules, and see, everything is there for you. So as a teacher, it's ready to go. You're good to go. You have your module. See that Google Slides that I was using? It's right here. So you click on it, and it's going to take you to the Google slide. You have all of the workbook that you have for your students. You have some solution guides. So sometimes if you don't know the coding, you can find the solutions here and see all of the videos that I was playing. They're all right here. So everything is set up for you, ready to go with your students. Now, in the second part of the workshop, we're going to talk a little bit about the AI part, because this is the AI Summit at Logix Academy. So we want to make sure we cover AI. And the AI part you will not find in the main module where it says 1 to 8. You're going to find this in the extension. And you're going to find here the AI songwriting, and you have some lessons that are specific to the use of AI for songwriting. So this is your resource center, and I think it's going to be super useful for you to start exploring with your students. Now, one of the first activity we do with the students is we actually have a look at this YouTube video. And I'm not going to play it because it's like a 3-hour YouTube videos, and I never actually fully play it with students. But they get to explore and hear a DJ, and the DJ is coding as the music is playing, and they can hear some of the changes that are happening as the DJ is changing the code. And the reason I use this is most of the students I work with, especially in grade 4 to grade 8, they've been used mostly to block-based coding. So I asked them, like, what do you see about the coding? What's the difference? Some will say, oh, it's like in the movie when there's a hacker trying to hack a bank. So that's usually their view of text-based coding, but it's to make them realize that for this project, they will be using text-based coding, and that's totally fine. But I really like that they've put this here. And then in the video, in the slide deck, they also introduced the students to some of the winners from the past. So they have Bryce Watt, a grade 12 student, and they also have Miyuki Dreyer from Toronto. She's from a French school, so that's usually the one I use. Her song is not in French, but that's her entry. So I kind of like to give a face to some of the winners from the past and have them for the first time look at a song that was created by one of these artists. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully I share the right tab this time, and I'm sharing the sound, so Stuart will confirm everything. And Stuart, is there any comments from our participants so far, or is there anything that came up, or do you have any comments or questions?
Nothing yet in the chat. We've been pasting the resources for everything you've been sharing as we've been going, but I'm excited to dive into it further again. I think that piece you mentioned about not being afraid of text-based coding is important as well. Like, you know, I've seen that with students that I've worked with as well, that are very used to block-based coding, and understanding that the progression to text-based coding, it's not maybe as big of a jump as people think. Making that connection with those same blocks you were always putting in place in whatever block-based editor you're used to, there is a specific line, a string of text behind that. And so just understanding that it's really that same process of connecting your steps one after the other. We're just doing it in a written form. And as you said, I think your sketch does it in a way where it's not going to feel overly complex for people. Like they'll start to see the progression as they go on.
Exactly. And there's actually quite a few coding platforms that helps with the transition as well.
Yeah.
As an example, MBlock is a copy of Scratch, but you can see the Python code behind it. MakeBlock or Microsoft MakeCode, where they use the either for the Microbit or MakeCode Arcade, they get to switch back and forth between the text base and the block base, so they can actually change their block base and go and immediately see the changes that it has that has been implemented on the text base site. And one of the things that we offer at Logix Academy is codingville.ca, which also has those lessons to go from block base to text base. So we should see my ear sketch right now.
Yeah, it's up there now.
And let's make sure that the sound is working. So just to show you, this is the code that Miyuki wrote, and she has some comment. And see how cool that is. She's giving credit to Dakota Bear, Khalid, Samian, Pharrell Williams. So she basically used sound clips from 4 artists to create her song. And that's exactly how Samian presented it in the original video that we watched, where it says, we basically decompose music to then remix the music. And it's kind of cool to see this mesh from various artists that is being used by students. Now, this program is also called Your Voice is Power, because you can also record your own voice on the platform. And that is part of the, not the first lesson, but it comes in further lessons so that students get to record their own voice. Maybe they play a music instrument, so they could also record that as well. Now, if I go down the code here, this is what the code looks like when you're coding in EarSketch. And you may be scared right now, but I'm telling you, after a 1-hour session with grade 5 students, they're ready to start mixing sounds, no problem. Obviously, they'll learn more complicated things after, but I encourage you to actually get either Bryce or Miyuki's example. They're available from the website, just so that students can see, hey, this is what I'm aiming for. Like, this is what is possible with the platform. We're going to start small, but I can see the possibility. So the code is right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the code. And when you run the code, you're going to see that digital audio workstation, a DAW. This is where the music will appear in a very visual format. So if you were using an app, maybe you've used Soundtrap, maybe you've used GarageBand on an iPad. Like, there's a lot of apps where you can do some mixing with kind of blocks of music. That's what you're going to see in the digital audio workstation. So let me run the code. 1, 2, 3, magic. And there's the code showing up. And as you can see, we can see all of the tracks that Miyuki used to create her song. See, there's some tracks from Samian here and some track from Khalid. So you can see all of these tracks. And now if I play it, And let's hope it works this time. You tell me, Stuart.
Yeah.
Doing this work as we can't just pray anymore. Doing this work as
Is it working?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Awesome. So let me play. Let's go 30 seconds of it so that you can see and make sure you look at the digital audio workstation as I'm playing it.
we can't just pray anymore. Doing this work as we can't just pray anymore. We must do something and we need to do it now.
Almost like you're screaming, no one hears your voice.
We want the freedom and not the illusion. We are the warriors. The ones that you read in the stories, we are notorious.
Almost like you're screaming, no one hears you.
So I think you get the point now. You can see how she used music from various artists and lyrics from various artists to create her own song. So if you're ready to start looking at the platform, I'd like to do some demo to show you how you can quickly teach that to your students. And then after, we're going to have a look at the AI portion. Obviously, I can't teach you the 8 lesson plans plus the AI in 1 hour, but just enough so that you see how it works, and then you can use it with your students. So the platform is the AirSketch platform, and I'm sure Stuart has put or will put the link in the chat so that you can have a quick access. You can also access the AirSketch platform from the Your Voices Power website as well. It's all very easy to access. And when you get on the AirSketch platform, students will need to create an account. But what I like is we need to respect students' privacy. They don't have to put their full information. So see, I put my actual first initial and last name, but students don't have to do that. So I'm going to log out just to show you. So this is what it's going to look like when students come in, where they put their username and password. But if you click here, create an account, register a new account, they can put a username, and the username could be very generic. It just needs to be unique and not used by someone else in Canada. And then they put a password. They don't even need to put their email address, which is optional. And I know with many school districts, we don't want to provide students' email address to an outside organization, so they don't need to put their email. Now, keep in mind, if they don't put their email, they really need to remember that username and password, because they won't be able to do a reset password. That's not possible. So once they have their account, I'm going to log in my account because I did log out. Let's hope I get my password right. Yeah, I do. Okay, so now I'm on the platform. It's possible to play with the platform without an account. The problem when you do this is you're not saving anything. And if they plan on entering the competition and, sending their song one day, they need to be able to save their work from session to session. So on the left-hand side, this is where you see the content manager. And let me just introduce the interface and the platform before we start playing with the sounds and everything. So the content manager, this is where students will get access to the 5,000 sounds or close to 5,000 sounds that is part of the platform. So you see all of these artists. You may recognize Alicia Keys, but all these artists, including like Dakota Bear and Samian and Khalid and Jaylee Wolf, all of these artists donated their music. I always insist that it's not okay to go and grab music from Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube Music and steal it to put on the platform. That's not authorized. But these artists definitely said, yes, you can use our music for education, which I think is great of them to do that. Now, the content manager can be closed. In most cases, you won't close it unless you're like working on your code and you got all of your sound. But you can reopen it. The curriculum on the right-hand side, I would suggest to close it unless you need to go there. This has the curriculum for students. But because you're using the lessons created by Your Voices Power and you have access to all those PowerPoint, your students won't actually need that curriculum here on the right-hand side. And then in the middle here, this is where you have the main part to do your coding. So you have what we call the code editor. At the top, you have your digital audio workstation. And at the bottom, you have what we call the console. And the console, when you do coding, this is where you see your error messages. And you hope you don't get that many error messages, because whenever you get an error, means you have to find what mistake you made in the code. what you want to see is your script ran successfully. So you see this when I ran Miyuki's script. No problem, it ran successfully. Obviously, her script was perfect, no mistakes. So that's why it says it runs successfully. So the first thing I'm going to have students do is to discover the sound library. And I encourage them to wear headphones if possible. And most students have some form of headphones or AirPods, things like that, that they can connect to their Chromebook, either via the audio jack or using Bluetooth. And then they can come here to discover the music. So as an example, if I go under Alicia Keys, now it's going to filter. It's going to show me the 86 sounds that were donated by Alicia Keys. And the way Samian described it in the original video, it was all decomposed. So as you can see, if I come here, you got the acoustic guitar separated from the rest. So if I play this, so that was a short segment from Alicia Keys of guitar. And if I come here, maybe I'm going to have like different guitar. So this is different. If I come here, I'm going to get some piano from her song. If I come here, I'm going to have some snaps. See? Just the snap or the stop. Or if I come here, I'm going to get some voice. So if you go under the vocals, you're going to get voice.
Everybody rise up. You gonna rise it.
And all of the other ones as well. So now I'm only have the sounds from Alicia Keys. If I want to go back to all the sounds, I can unselect Alicia Keys. And now I'm back to my close to 5,000 sounds. Now, some of you may be asking, oh, how come you have 5,002 and I only have 4,900 and something? And the reason is I have personal sound that I added to my own library. When you start from scratch and you haven't added your own sound, you are just under 5,000 sounds on the platform. So remember they saw Jaylee Wolf from the original video here. So you could come and get some of Jaylee Wolf's sound here, or maybe you want some Khalid. So you have access to all of these sounds. Once you have too many selected as well, you can always clear filters just to come back to the 5,000 sound. So that was looking at music by artists. Students can also look at music by genres. So let's say they want to work only on country sounds. So they get country, maybe they want Latin music. So then they can come and get the Latin music. So all of the sounds have been tagged with a genre. If students are more interested in instruments, let's say they actually want piano and they don't care it's from which artist, they can say, I want only the piano. And now you've got all of the piano that comes from the various artists. If students are a little bit trained on music, they could also get the sound by key, so major or minor. So it lets them select the keys that they want. So let me clear all the filters right here. And usually I give time to students to explore the music and to put those little stars. So if you look, let me zoom in here. You see those little stars? This is where students could say, oh, I really like this sound. I'm going to make it a favorite. That's going to help a lot when it comes the time to code, because they don't have to search that sound in the 5,000 sound. They can only come here and say, I would like to display only the ones that have a star. So if I go show only stars, so see here, it actually reduced the number of sound a lot to 7 sounds because I only have 7 sounds in my favorites. So that's the first part, discovering the music that is part of the platform. The second part is to start the coding. So to code, they're going to be using what we call a script, and they need to create a new script. So I usually compare this to creating a new document, like a new Microsoft Word document or a new Google Doc on their Google Drive. The only difference is when they create a new file here, they need to make sure that they don't use any special characters, especially if you're in a French school, they might be using accented characters, or even in English school, they might be using like a dash or a space or emojis. No. For the script, they should select a name that is pretty straightforward. I usually say only letters and numbers. and no space. Just keep it super simple. So let's say today is the AI Summit song. So that's what I'm going to call it. And see, I'm not putting any space, keeping it super simple. You have the choice between two coding languages, and the one that we're using in the all of the lesson plans is Python. So I'm going to create in Python, and now, boom, I'm ready to go. So it is showing a basic script here that has 4 lines of code, actually 3 of them. There's 2 empty lines here. And if students run this code, nothing happens. This is where they're going to start adding their own sound. And as you can see, when I ran the script now, it says the script ran successfully, obviously because there's barely nothing and I haven't changed it. Now, I do encourage you to emphasize the fact that you don't want to change this too much. Like if the students were to remove the asterisk here, the script would not work. It would not work. So they need those pieces here to make the script work. So be very careful with that. So the first coding words that they're going to use in Python for your sketch is called fit media. And fit media is a coding word that it's a function, if we want to use the proper vocabulary. It's a function that will insert media, so music, into the digital audio workstation. Now, it's very difficult for kids to write Python without any syntax error or spelling mistakes. So let me show you how easy EarSketch makes it. So I'm going to start typing FI for fit, and see it's already giving me all of the things that have FI. And you should see that function at the top, which is the fit media function. So you click on it, and boom, it's written for you. So this is great because students don't have to type all of this. They could, but let's say they forget the uppercase M, then it won't work. Let's say they write fit media, but they put a space between fit and media. It won't work. Let's say they forget to put the parenthesis. It won't work. They forget a comma. It won't work. So by using the autocomplete, it makes it a lot easier for them to code. So let me show you how you're going to add 4 pieces of information. This function needs 4 inputs. And inputs is information that you're providing to the function to make it work. So fit media, the 4 pieces of information it needs is the sound. What sound am I supposed to insert in the digital audio workstation? The second thing is the track. And as you probably saw when we played the song earlier, you have multiple tracks there. And because this is the first sound we're going to put it on track number 1, which is the track at the top. But obviously, you will want to put the second sound and the third sound on other tracks so you don't create conflicts with the tracks. And then the start and the end. Where do you want this sound to start, and when do you want this sound to end? So let me show you. I'm going to double-click the word sound, and this is the best trick that I've learned using this in the classroom. The double-click, because if students try to select themselves, I find sometimes they will use their mouse like this or their trackpad, and they think they've selected the whole word, but see, they only have S-U-N. They don't have S-U-N-D. By double-clicking, they basically select the whole word sound all at once. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to go in my favorite, and I'm going to insert some guitar from Alicia Keys. So you should see here a little blue icon, which is a copy-paste. I'm going to click on it, and boom, magic, it adds the sound to it. That easy. And then the track, because this is the first track, we're going to put 1. So I'm going to click 1 here. Then I need to say when do I want to start this? So I want to start it at the beginning of the sound. And the beginning of the song is position number 1. So I'm going to say 1. It doesn't start with 0, which is something that confuses students from time to time. And then I'm going to say, when do I want this to end? I'm going to put 9 for now, and you're going to see why. So let me run this script. And as you can see now, perfection. No problem. So I do this all the time. Some of the mistakes that students could do is, let's say they forget a comma. See, now they get a syntax error on line number 5. Or maybe they put fit media. Now we're back to normal. But let's say I put fit media with a lowercase m, and I run it. It has no idea. It says name error. I have no idea what this function is. See, humans are way better at working with mistakes. Computers are not that good at working with mistakes. Let's say I'm going to remove the parenthesis at the end. It's going to give me a mistake again. Or let's say the previous line, I deleted the parenthesis at the end of set tempo. See? And this can also be, this one can also be confusing for students because it says my mistake is on line number 5. And the reason is the line number 4 was never ended because of the 120, the parenthesis. So it thinks fit media is problematic because it sees it as all being one line, 4 and 5. So sometimes when it's a parenthesis at the end of a line, it may feel like it's giving you the wrong line where the mistakes would be. Stuart, does it look like we have any questions so far, or does that seem pretty straightforward to add those fit medias?
No questions yet. And I was testing out myself, and little things, I like the fact that if there is that error, it's going to tell you ideally what line it's on, except for that end parentheses one. But there's also for teachers, there's the option to click for more information, and then right away it pops open your side panel, all within the same interface, and it gives you a little description of what is a syntax error, and what are some things that you might want to look for. So it's great that troubleshooting is kind of all built into the interface and learning how to troubleshoot code.
Yep. And there's actually a pretty cool lesson which is on error correction, finding mistakes. And there's a game in there where you have a slide and students are challenged together. It's like a screen-free activity. Well, it's on a big screen, but students turn off their computer for that one, and they try to find errors in the code. And it's kind of a little competition. They have to find the 5 mistakes in the code. I really like that lesson. So now that we have the code working, you probably saw I said from 1 to 9. And if you look, the reason I said position 1 to 9, if you, let's say we zoom in here, you will see position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I move here, once I reach 5, see, this is when there's another sound starting. Well, the same sound, but it's basically repeating. And the reason is the sound that I've used here is a sound that is 4 in length. So between 1 and 9, it has the time to play it twice, because from 1 to 5, that's a length of 4, and from 5 to 9, that's a length of 4. And this is where I think it might be a little bit confusing for students, because students are so used that we start with 0. So it would be from 0 to 8, that would give them 8 positions, so 0 to 4 and then 4 to 8. But because we start at 1, it's from 1 to 5 and then 5 to 9. Now, not all sounds have a length of 4. You're going to see my next sound will have a length of 1. So you kind of need to, do a little bit of trial and error here. So like, let's say students put from 1 to 5. Now they're going to realize that it plays that sounds only once. See, only once here. From 1 to 5, and you can actually see here 1 all the way to 5. You can see this on the screen. So now here we go. So let's say I'm going to go back to 1 to 9 because I want this to be a little bit longer. And these loops, that's why we call them loops, have been designed that they can repeat. So it doesn't sound weird if you put 2 one after another, they repeat well. So when it's time to add more code, super easy. You come to the end of the last line, and then you press enter, and it gives you an extra line to work on your code. So I'm going to put a fit media here like this. And same idea. This time I'm going to put some voice. So let me clear my filter. I'm going to get Alicia Keys, and I'm going to grab her voice here. Okay. So I'm going to double click sound, and I'm going to select this one. I'm going to select, I cannot put track 1 right here because I've already used track 1 for my guitar. So the voice will be on track number 2. And I want to start it, let's say from 1 to 3. And let's see what we get with that. So as you can see now, we got my sound.
Everybody rise up. Everybody rise up.
So it did play that sound twice because this sound only has a length of 1. So it plays it from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. Let's say I want to repeat this 3 times. I would put from 1 to 4. So now it would have time to repeat it 3 times. So students really learn about, working with numbers when they do that. I had students who say, can I do half? And they try 3.5. And yes, you can. Like this. And they're going to realize, yeah, it works. It's kind of weird because it's going to cut this sound in the middle.
Everybody rise up. Everybody rise up. Everybody rise.
But it is possible. And in some cases, especially if they're working with their own sound, it's going to be necessary to do something like that. And even for, where you want to start, you could go with decimals as well. Now, if I come back from 1 to 3, now students will realize it's kind of weird that the voice is starting exactly when the song starts. Normally, we have a bit of music before we bring the voice. So they could say, well, I'm going to play it from 3 to 5 instead of 1 to 3. And as you can see, boom, magic, it moves it. So now we have music.
Everybody rise up. Everybody rise up.
We have a bit of music before we move to the voice. And some students says, well, I'd like to repeat it, but I don't want to repeat that voice like twice in a row. I'd like to have a bit of music between the 2 repetitions. So students will realize, well, that's when we need 2 lines of code to do that. So I'm going to do from 3 to 4. That's going to play it once. And then look at that. I'm going to show them how to be a bit lazy. Lazy encoding is a good thing. And I'm going to do from 3 to 4 and then maybe from 5 to 6. And now when I run my code, you're going to see there's a little break between the 2 because I have from 3 to 4 and then from 5 to 6. So once students start to discover how to use the Fit Media, they can do so much magic with their code. Let's try this.
Everybody rise up. Everybody rise up.
That easy. So Fit Media is the first thing they need to understand. The next thing they need to understand is working with tempo. So as you can see, if I play the original sound from Alicia Keys here, and if I play my song, you will realize it's a bit faster. And that's because by default, they have the tempo set at 120 BPM, so beat per minute. You can change that. So I could say, I want to have it at, let's say, 80. And now if I run my code, always run your code every time you make a change. You see, it's a lot slower. And let's say I'm going to go from 80 to 180. Now it sounds like Alicia Keys had too much coffee this morning. You can go from 45 to all the way to 220. And in the lesson, that's what I like. Those Google slides that I showed you, you have a lesson where it shows the different types of music, like hip hop and electronic music and country and pop music. And it shows students what BPM are usually used in the industry for each of these songs. And students can even change the tempo throughout the song as well. And you probably saw that with Miyuki's song earlier. She doesn't have the same speed during the whole song to create some sort of an effect. So there's a different set tempo that they can use to change the sound as they are moving through the song. And if kids are interested in learning more or learning faster than you go through the lesson, they have the API here. So on the right-hand side, see that there was the sound and there's the API. And the API, it stands for Advanced Programming Interface. They have all of the keywords or all of the functions that they can use in their code to change the music, like change the tempo, change the effects, play a random file. That would be kind of fun. So they have access to all of the coding interfaces, including the Fit Media. And when they open this, what I like, and I think that's what you were mentioning, Stuart, they have access to what it means. What are these 4 pieces of information that you're supposed to use when using a Fit Media? So if they find a keyword or a function that they've never used, and they're wondering, like, what are these information I'm supposed to put? It's going to show them here. And it even include an example, which I think is pretty cool. Like students have an example, say, oh, okay, this is what it means. Makes sense? Any questions we see from the chat, Stuart?
No, we're okay. But I think it's like, what you've highlighted just recently too. It's such a great example of how this platform's combining the ability to quickly trial and error and go through kind of that design process with coding where, students trial something and then realize they want to make an adjustment. But that's the beauty of coding, how quickly you can make revisions and tweak things. And this is a great way to bring that into music, where, as I said, those small little tweaks, copying a line, pasting, make a little adjustment. Now you've completely changed your output, and it's taken you, really a few seconds to do that, and run it again and see what you get.
And it doesn't take long for students to be so proud of what they're creating. Like,
Yeah.
I go in classrooms and they want me to put their headphones and listen to what they just did. So they're very proud of their creation. It's part of the coding where students get to be creative, and that's what I really enjoy delivering this program. That being said, if I come here, a lot of teachers ask me, like, how do they save their work? So it's very important to run the script to save. So you run it to save, and then you can use that little X here to close it. That's it. Now you can close your Chromebook and it's done. So the next time they come, they will make sure that they are logged into their account. They would go under script and see, this is my AI Summit song that I created with you. It's right here. And all of my previous projects are right here. So all the students would need to do is to, double click on this one and their code is back here. But I found that if students don't run the code, it doesn't really save it. See, every time you run the code, it actually saves the code. So now you can feel at ease to press the X and make the code disappear. It's going to be saved in your account. I often have students who say, Mr. Trombley, I don't see the stars like you do. And the reason they don't see the stars is because they're not logged into their account. Sometimes I find on some school networks that are not as stable, sometimes the router is kind of far from your classroom. They may lose the internet for a few seconds and it's going to kick them out. So that's why I encourage them to run their code often, so it saves on the server. So if they get kicked out, they can just log back in and they'll be fine. I know they've become pretty lazy at not saving because of Google Drive and Microsoft Word that, it saves automatically on your OneDrive or on your Google Drive. With this one, you do need to run the code to make sure that you save your work. But because they want to test their code, obviously they run their codes every time they change something in the code. So usually that's not too much of an issue.
I was just checking. I love how easy it is to export an MP3 too of your work.
Oh,
and then they could be listening to it on the go anywhere. They could be sharing it with friends and family and yeah.
For the competition, they will actually have to share their code because they also want to see how the code is created. But it's super easy to share with someone else, and they can share their whole code, or they can export as an MP3 so that it becomes just music for their phone or whatever the device they're using.
Yeah.
I do want to take a bit of time before we move to the AI part to see how we can add a sound. So there's 3 ways to add a sound. So I use, if you missed that, I went on sound and I click add sound right here. So you can upload like an MP3 or a WAV file. But again, I always tell students, don't take an MP3 that you get from Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube and upload it here. You do not have permission from these artists to do that. But if you have a piano, if you like to create and you want to record your own, that's a possibility. You could export or you could import that WAV file or that MP3 file that you created. Now, this is where you can record your own voice. So click record. And when you do that, the biggest mistake I see from students is it says, do you authorize Google Chrome to use your microphone for eSketch? And they say, no, I refuse. And that's the biggest mistake, because then you need to go in Google Chrome in the privacy settings and reactivate that. But this is where they would click to record their sound. It's going to create a sound, and then they have access to the sound the same way as any sounds they have from any artist. And if you look here, in the list of artists, you will see the ones that we've discussed so far, but you see a very famous singer here called Dee Trombley. That's me. And under Dee Trombley, it's going to show, let me See, it shows all of the sounds that I have recorded. So super easy. And these sounds can be added the same way as any other sounds could be added to the platform. The other part that they can use is Freesound. So this is searching for Creative Commons or for royalty-free music online. So let's say I want to have an upbeat intro, and they can do a search, and now it's going to try to look in various database of royalty-free music. Now, they have to realize when it says Creative Commons, they are allowed to use it, but they need to cite the work. So they need to say where they pick it up. So they would need to copy paste this in their code so that it is visible. But by adding this sound, see, you can put a name, and then it's going to be added and be part of the library. So that's why my library has more sounds than yours, because I added some sounds that came from online, and I added my super voice. I'm the best singer in the world. Not at all, but I added that to the platform. When I say they need to put some credits, to add code that won't be used by the platform but will be visible, you use the hashtag. So I could say credit and then put the music that I use. So these lines of code that have the hashtag, and you probably saw Miyuki had quite a few in her code. These lines will not run to create sound, but they will be visible in the code. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you the AI part. So I'm going to share my screen again, but this time I'm going to take you to Your Voices Power website. Let me make sure I got this right. Okay, so now we should see the Your Voices Power website. And on Your Voices Power, this is where you see the AI songwriting. And this is a new part of the website where students get to use AI to write their own song. And what I like is normally students would go on Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, Llama from Meta. They would go on one of these big large language models. The problem is in many school districts, these large language models are either banned or limited or not available to younger students. The songwriter bot that it comes here, and I'm going to load it here, and I think I will need to reshare my screen so that you can see it. This songwriter bot is actually an AI, but that is designed just to write song. And the cool thing about this one, and let me try to display it here. Where do I have it? Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to display it here. So this songwriter bot that is available from where I just showed you. Songwriter bot. Yep, here we go. So this bot is designed to be super safe for students. It's actually pretty strict on what you can create. So students would enter a prompt the same way as they would do on a regular chat bot, a regular AI bot. So let's say I want to create a song about the French language people living in the Quinte area, which is where I live, and how they were instrumental to the development of the area. You can see my interest here. First Nation have an interest of people knowing about what they've done, and being a Francophone, I like people to know how Francophones contributed to the creation of this beautiful country. So this is what I could do. So let me try to do this, and I'm going to generate the lyrics here. 3, 2, 1. A little bit more. I have time for some coffee. Oh, here we go. So see, it knows the Bay of Quinte's shore. So it knows it's a bay. The French voices echoed years before. We have the rhymes here, which is great. Oh, from Caring Place to Trenton. These are actually two communities in the Quinte area. Their legacy lives on and more. Like Les Voyageurs, they blazed the way. Wow, this is beautiful. I actually want to create a song about that. So as you can see, it helps the students create their song. Obviously, we encourage students to modify and not just take a song the way it is. But as you can see, like Deseronto, Belleville, this is where I live. So when French and English cultures meet, it's pretty cool. And actually, I would maybe regenerate it and say, taking into account also the First Nation living here, because we have the Tyinega Mohawk territory. So let me just change my prompt here. Here we go. And now I'm going to regenerate again. So if you're used to a chatbot, you probably are not impressed. It's like it does it on ChatGPT. But what I like is we have a tool here that is usually authorized by school district, because you cannot do more than that. And the restrictions are actually like, I asked for 2 dinosaurs to battle and it wouldn't do it. Even though they're dinosaurs and they're not using weapons, just because it had the word battles, it didn't accept that. So it's pretty strict in what it will accept or not. But see, now it's taking into account the great First Nation that we have living here, in whom we share the land, the Tyinega Mohawk territory, and then we have the song working again here. So this is the songwriting, and you're going to find there's actually full lessons on songwriting that tell students how AI works, how it generates, how it comes up with the information. It's more than just using the bot. It's about students learning about how AI works and how you can use it to come up with your own songs and be creative. Okay, so I think we've covered most of what we were supposed to be doing today. As you can see, this is the first PowerPoint, and I just want to show you, like, I'm going to quickly skim through it. My goal was not to do the whole PowerPoint, but just to show you how well designed everything is for you. Like, you're ready to start teaching this tomorrow. You've got 8 full modules plus the AI modules ready to teach, with like explaining to the kid what is tempo, what is a beat. Like, how does that work? You have videos embedded with real artists talking about how tempo works and how they change tempo. See, this is what I was telling you. It teaches students the different kinds of music and what kind of tempo and beat per minute that they're using. So I think it's a great platform, great for you, ready to use. There's also some unplug activities like here on how you can do coding without using the computer as well. So it's a great complement to what you are doing. So do we have any other questions at the end here? So
there was one. Maggie asked, can you show us again how you got to the page just recently? And Maggie, was that the one?
Well, probably the bot. Probably the bot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pasted just above in the link there. There should be a link that says the direct link to the Songwriter bot. So it's yourvoicespower.ca/AI and then /songwriter-bot. And that'll bring you right to the page without needing any sort of login, and you can go directly.
And if you want to go through the steps, you would go to Your Voices Power, select extension, go in the AI lesson, and the Songwriter bot is one of the first things that they make available to you. So it's a great thing. I kind of like to test it as a teacher also, what it will accept to produce and what it will not accept. And I think that's a great way to show your school district administrator that it is a great website to not block on your school network, even though they may be blocking some other AI tools.
Yeah, and so just kind of wrapping up, there is with these sessions, with all the sessions today and coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more what's coming up next week as well, but there are certificates available for completion today. So if you go to that bit.ly link there, and I will paste in the chat as well, the AI-skilling certificate, you can get a certificate of completion for this session you did today. And also there are more sessions coming up, and that's the link I just pasted above the AI 2025 Summit. So there's sessions continuing, the recordings from other sessions that took place today that you might not have been able to join into. There's more content next weekend as well, and going into December as well. Lots of great content continuing coming up. So check those links out there as you go.
I also put a link to the Airtable. It's very important that all participants, so that we can receive fundings for this workshop, fill out that little form. It takes just a few seconds. We put it in the chat and we put it on the screen, but we would really appreciate if you could go on the Airtable and fill out that form. I know it's difficult to type, so use the link in the chat to get to there. But that's very important for us that you fill out that form so we know who was here, and it helps with funding as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so with all these sessions too, we really encourage people to share any feedback you have to try to continually improve these for your needs. So there's a feedback link there in the slide, the bit.ly/Logix feedback. And so really encourage any feedback, please share it there, and that will continue to make these more and more tailored to your needs. And there's also an email there if you ever need support for Logix Academy events. That can be found there. And as Dominic was saying, please do fill out that Airtable link, though, for ensuring future funding for those.
And as you know, we can virtually visit your classroom with this specific project for free. So make sure you email what you see here, events@logixacademy.com, and they're going to make sure that, we have a presenter coming virtually to your classroom via Zoom or Microsoft Teams to deliver the first lesson to your students so that they can get started.
That's it.
So I think that's it. Thank you very much, Stuart, for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Dominic. It was great. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and we hope you have a great rest of the day, and hope to see you all soon.
Perfect. Bye-bye.